Welcome, beloved hearts. This is Anrita Melchizedek, and I'd like to welcome you to this magical month of May. In fact, I'm calling it the month of attunement to Christ consciousness, because really all the gateways are activating as we deepen into not only our own loving hearts through the gateway of the divine feminine and the overlighting of Divine Mother Mary, who opens her inner plane temple of the Immaculate Heart to all awakened souls on the sacred earth in this magical month of May. And so such a blessed and beautiful time essentially to deepen into our own loving hearts, to keep our hearts open, to release any level of blame or judgment or resentment at another, and just come deeper into the reverence of not only the beloved sisters and mothers and women in our lives, but of course as the divine feminine, just stepping up and loving and nurturing and appreciating ourselves and appreciating all life, and just deepening into that innocence and divinity within that recognizes that all life has that essence of Christhood within, and to be able to greet others, to step up and simply to see them, to show that level of respect, and to be able to extend through our loving hearts to really just helping where we can. And that is in essence, on one level, this energy of Christ consciousness, which we all are experiencing as we move through our ascension gateways and Stargate activations and planetary alignments, and of course just into our own universe, activating those beautiful light codes from within and connecting into the unity grid of divine love, into that Christ consciousness grid, to one another as the flames of divinity, as the light of God we are. And it's really amplifying at this now moment. In fact, we're moving into, as many of us are aware, the energy now on the 5th of May of this wonderful Wesak full blood moon, lunar eclipse, and it celebrates the Festival of Wesak. So it's this 5-5 gateway, which is so very interesting as well, because that's all about change, but it's also another level to that Christ consciousness frequency, which is activating primarily still for us through the 1111 codes and the 2222 codes. So we call those the codes of divinity, whether it's a 2211 or the variables thereof. It's activating greater levels of the purity, the divinity, the innocence from within us. And this gateway, of course, is overlighted by the inner plane masters too. So we've got the beautiful energy of the sisterhood of the Rose and the overlighting of Divine Mother Mary. And now we have too the overlighting of Lord Buddha, celebrating this Wesak festival. But for us, it's really being able to move beyond the veils of illusion, of being able to deepen into that inner plane connection that we have with ascended masters, but as the spiritual hierarchy ourselves, as the externalization of the spiritual hierarchy, of coming into our Christed light. And that's what's just so beautiful in this ability to deepen into the quantum field, where we make this connection to all, because the unity grid itself is essentially our Christ consciousness grid. And it's not only are we the vibrating portals or stargates of divine love, we're both the receivers and transmitters. And as we expand our light with all the sacred geometries, the numerologies, the sound and color frequencies that of course experienced through New Earth, as those light codes are activating from within, but we're able to share that with others. And it's just such a powerful way that together we are co-creating our heaven on earth, that we are experiencing a new earth. And this ability to tune into the inner planes allows us to not only celebrate our own divinity and the recognition of our own light, but to join collectively with many of the masters, and for many of us as initiates or cheelers on the thread or adepts of light, to deepen into those ashrams and cities of light, and of course into the various ray ashrams within Shambhala, for those that are familiar with the energy of the rays of creation. And these are 12 beautiful rays that spiral forth from the cosmic heart of Mother, Father, God. And these amazing, beautiful rays are experienced through what we call ray ashrams. And there are 12 ray ashrams within Shambhala. And then there's further layers of that which we call the cosmic map of Mother, Father, God, that is experienced more dimensionally than more in terms of just that quantum plane connection that we make. Well, all is experienced dimensionally, because of course the third dimension is very much where we're fast asleep and completely unconscious, and it's from that fourth and then fifth dimensional level of conscious awareness, our cosmic Christ consciousness, and the ability from there to tune in and connect to this beautiful frequency that exists of Christ consciousness through the embodiment of our own soul light. And that is essentially that field of Christ consciousness that we are tuning into and experiencing, whether we find ourselves experiencing different colors, or whether we have particular geometries that are sensing, being activated for each of us individually, and of course there are collective frequencies that we're all activating too in this now moment. And it's just really such a beautiful time. But to be able to deepen into this quantum field and into this connection that we have on the inner planes, we go deep within, and the veils of illusion, or the ring-passeth-nots that we just move into and expand beyond, are actually the cosmic gateways. It's the ability to keep our hearts open, and it's the ability to experience the pineal gland activations that are continuous. But with that, what then is experienced is not only greater levels of cosmic conscious awareness, which is really essentially how we experience New Earth. What happens initially is that our consciousness is activating and our consciousness is expanding, and it's our ability to hold our consciousness at those various dimensional fields of light for long enough without going back into those old programmings, into those old habits, into those false beliefs, those judgments, victim, persecutor, consciousness, programming, stories, old ways of being, which is about blame, which is about judgment, which is about shame, and so much more. What we're doing is that we bringing ourselves to this now moment, and from the 0 point, which is that photonic light, which is that soul light, we're then moving forward into that next level of creation. And not only can we experience this through the energy of these beautiful 12 rays that spiral forth from Shambhala, and right now it's like really the office of the Christ frequency that's activating, because it's the divine feminine plus the divine masculine, all those inner plane masters. And what is occurring with that is that we are tuning deeper within ourselves and experiencing that next octave collectively of cosmic Christ consciousness. And so how we experience that is through experiencing all dimensions simultaneously of these higher dimensional fields of light. And what I would like to do is to invite you to this beautiful New Earth quantum healing activation that we will have live on Zoom, navigating these New Earth timelines, where we experience what we call 6 cosmic rays. So in addition to these beautiful 12 earthly rays that we can experience, there is also the opportunity to experience this cosmic map, so to speak, that draws upon the energy of these rays, primarily the 12th ray of one unity consciousness or Christ consciousness, and amplifies that at each level through various sacred geometries, through various portals and dimensional frequencies, and of course the gateways that are activating from not only around us and through the unity grid, but also from within. All is activating from within, every light code, every frequency, but we can experience it either from within and create the realities out there to match over time. That is when we are creating the New Earth gateways. That is when we are creating the plasma tunnels, the rainbow bridge, and to New Earth. And we experience that with all the magic and all the wonderful rainbow colors and crystalline frequencies as the subatomic particles within our bodies spin in this increased light frequency. What we can also do is build the geometries around our body and through our body with corresponding colors, with corresponding frequencies, to experience those higher dimensional fields of light. And in this New Earth Quantum Healing activation, called the Cosmic Christ Consciousness Expansion and Cosmic Rays Actualization, what we can do is experience these 6 cosmic rays through experiencing the dimensions from the 4th to the 9th dimension respectively. Now again, I just point out that there are many more dimensions beyond that, and so whether we're working with a pie that's got 9 dimensions, or has got 12 dimensions, or has got 144 dimensions, it doesn't really matter. Each represents for us something that is tangibly experienced, and dimensions are experienced simultaneously. It's just, can we get ourselves to that particular gateway, Stargate, through our own frequency and consciousness? And once we can we hold our consciousness long enough so that the frequencies that are activating through that gateway can be activated from within us? That is essentially how we are activating ourselves to the higher dimensional fields of consciousness, or higher dimensions essentially. So at our 4th dimensional level, the cosmic ray that we can experience is called the cosmic ray of Solar Christ consciousness. And this is overlighted by the inner plane masters, guiding us ever deeper into self-mastery. For many souls too, they could experience this through traveling to the inner plane ashrams or inner plane cities of light, or experience the overlighting of various ascended masters if they are working with those frequencies. And some too will be initiated into the order of Melchizedek. Others will be working with the ascended master realms. I know that Master Saint Germain is very prominent, and particularly in the month of May too. So a lot will be working with, many awakened souls are working with that violet flame. And that violet flame also connects very much into Mount Shasta and into Telos, which is the Lemurian city of light beneath Shasta. And also we're experiencing many of those light codes coming through in the New Earth memories, but we're also experiencing many of the frequencies of light that I was expressing of the 12 rays coming through from Shambhala through these various ascension seeds. And this first cosmic ray is a beautiful copper gold ray or flame of light, and it's working with the sacred geometry of the cube, and it's a portal of light that is 0.02 feet above the crown chakra, so it's experienced as a sphere of light 6.04 feet in diameter around us within this beautiful copper gold cube and copper gold sphere. What we do is that we utilize that to attune ourselves to this 4th dimension. The 4th dimension for us is primarily all about the feeling. The 3rd dimension is our hell experience, it's the prison matrix, it's unconsciousness. The 4th dimension now, as we're awakening and moving into that frequency and energy, is very much about the feeling realms. All that we have suppressed, all that we haven't wanted to look at, all that we haven't wanted to experience, is all coming up for us at this time. And so this is very much the heaven and hell archetypal energies that we play out. And as we know, the higher we go, the more that we go into that clearing frequency and energy too. And this really is releasing these fields of physical density and karmic timelines, and really just attuning ourselves to the ability to let go, because as our higher selves we have that ability to let go, and our human selves, our ego selves, are always holding on. There's always a story, there's always a program, there's always something that is creating another layer of victim persecutor consciousness. And that's where we say we in that observational awareness or witnessing presence as our beloved I am, that I am. We have a look at that play, we observe it, and we see what we may still be holding on, what we still need to release, and we really allow ourselves to that deepest level of trust and surrender to let go and let God. I'm sorry about all the noise here. It's a very noisy afternoon, it would appear. So I can't do much about that. We can just focus on just these beautiful frequencies and energies that are being experienced on the sacred earth right now, as we attune ourselves in frequency and consciousness to that connection we have with Gaia, which is also very fourth dimensional. We find ourselves out more in nature. We find ourselves connecting deeper to our own universe, our higher light, as we unlock these light codes from within. So the fifth dimension, then, we can experience this cosmic ray of interstellar Christ consciousness, and it's this beautiful soft silver colored ray of light, and it's a very feminine ray, and in this cosmic ray frequency, it's overlighted by the Pleiadian emissaries of the light. And so this beautiful silver ray connects to the sacred geometry of the octahedron, which is also why many build the etheric temples of light with the frequency of this octahedron. It's also called the flame of illumination, because here we're starting to deepen into 0 point. We're connecting with our own beautiful soul. We're experiencing the photonic light. The light body is starting to come online too, because initially it's just our consciousness, but then we activate into the light body. When we release enough density, our physical body is becoming our light body. We are continually ascending in consciousness, and this is called the flame of illumination, because what we experience from a level of truth one moment often changes in the next. That's how quickly our perspectives are changing as we continually ascend our consciousness. And at this dimensional level, of course, we are still aligning and misaligning, aligning and misaligning, because we're still clearing that density. And it can take for some lifetimes, for some years, for some months. It's really where we are energetically with our own soul consciousness, our own programs, our own contracts that we've made through service in love. So we just honor all. And as our higher lights, of course, we never compare. We are just in that space and awareness of gratitude and appreciation for all we experience, and of course that open heart for all that others go through too, because it's really a collective journey, and it can be very, very uncomfortable, because what is occurring here is that we are leaving the perceived human realm where everything is fixed. So in our fifth dimensional realities or levels of consciousness, we're much more fluid. We've cleared a lot of the density. We are the observer, and also we are already integrating and experiencing our multidimensional selves and higher selves. And although there is this alignment and misalignment, as I expressed, we're much more flexible and fluid, and nothing is fixed, and we float a lot because we've cleared a lot of the density from within. So we're experiencing, and this continues to occur, the pineal gland activations and light body activations, and this really is the ray that takes us into 0 point. It's loving ourselves and just deepening into our divine feminine aspects and loving hearts as we activate our loving heart, or the stargate of the loving heart, to the universal heart. We could say this is really the commencement of our spiritual ascension. We go through the spiritual ascension, then we go through the physical ascension. And this also takes us into many of the timelines of remembrance of, in particular, the Lemurian golden ages of light, into that memory of living a new earth, and that ability to just attune to nature and nature intelligence, and to really just feel energetically all that communicates in its own expression of divinity on the sacred earth. The next ray that we experience is called the cosmic ray of galactic Christ consciousness, and this is a 6-dimensional frequency, overlighted in this instance by the Syrian Archangelic League, and it's a beautiful silver gold ray of light, and it corresponds to the sacred geometry of the star tetrahedron. And essentially with this ray frequency, what we're doing is we're merging with our Syrian higher selves. And I have expressed previously that our Syrian higher self that impulses us from this quadrant of the galaxy through Sirius is one of the first higher selves that we're actually embodying here on this sacred earth. and just a really, really beautiful, powerful, compassionate will and power energy that comes through that Syrian higher self merging. And it's very much a first-rate frequency, but it's a compassionate power frequency that is experienced. So it integrates with our divine masculine aspect with divine power. We step up in new ways, and it also amplifies our doing, because when we're in the feminine energy, the flow of the feminine in the loving heart, it's our being state, and we have to experience being before we move into doing on any level. And that is what we do here, is that we experience this beingness, and then we move into the doingness, and from there we move into greater levels of our own creativity, which is really just incredible, because our mind is full of ideas and ways that we can work and experience ourselves. So our fourth cosmic ray then is that of intergalactic Christ consciousness. And in this instance, it's a beautiful golden ray overlighted by the Andromedan intergalactic beings of the light, and corresponds to the sacred geometry of the icosahedron. And as we merge with our Andromedan self, we open into greater levels of what we call the quantum Stargate systems that correspond to these intergalactic frequencies. One thing that we need to remember, apart from all of this occurring simultaneously, and the ability to enter into these dimensional frequencies, is that they each have their own light grids, and we unlock those corresponding light grids from within, but also it's like we deepen into these grids of light. So from the planetary Christ consciousness grid, then into the solar Christ consciousness grid, light grid, crystalline grid, then into the galactic Christ consciousness grid, and then into this intergalactic Christ consciousness grid. Each time we just continue to expand, and at this level then, because the crystalline consciousness, the body is experiencing the commencement into physical ascension, the subatomic particles are really spinning in that increased light frequency, and we're moving then from the carbon to the crystalline. And so we're getting a lot of crystals that are activating, a lot of itchy skin. These crystals come up in different colors within the body, and they also radar to the external of New Earth. But essentially what they're doing from within is a navigating system for us into New Earth, but it's also for the super electron to activate from within, where the electron-positron pairs within our light body release any remaining physical density through this photonic light, and also through something that we call the spiritual microtron. So the spiritual microtron increases the vibratory cellular light within the body, breaks down the subatomic particles by splitting them into increased light frequencies and spinning them faster in this increased light. So it's essentially taking that subatomic particle and making it even smaller. And this really then allows for this crystalline structure of cosmic Christ consciousness to be created at this physical level. This is when we're starting to experience our physical immortal nature, where the chakras are merging in one unified column of light. There's like also a lot of higher chakras that we also activate at each level. And we have these various portals also above the crown chakra that create these dimensional fields of light. And this one is a 7th dimensional frequency, and it is 3 feet above the crown. So we have this beautiful sphere of light 12 feet in diameter around us that we work with within this sacred geometry of the icosahedron. This is a beautiful golden frequency of light, and it's just very powerful because we're unlocking these light codes from within. And I'll just very quickly go through the next couple, because I know that this is getting into something a little bit longer than what I had anticipated, and I did want to share with you just this very powerful activation, this New Earth quantum activation that we're going to be doing, and invite you to it. So the next 2 rays, then we've got it's a cosmic ray of universal Christ consciousness. It's a beautiful platinum ray, and this corresponds to the overlighting of the Melchizedek brotherhood. There are those of us here that have a very strong initiatory resonance, and that is simply because we've worked very much on the inner planes for many of the Christed light frequencies to activate. And we are not only experiencing that ourselves, but we are still attuning to that field of Christ consciousness to bring forth these frequencies for all to experience. But we do it in the forms of initiations. Those rays of creations that I spoke to you about each have a very specific initiation that one experiences, as well as activating through the DNA. So there's a lot that is experiencing here, and what we experience with this cosmic ray frequency is really the higher consciousness DNA being activated, and we are simply just pure consciousness, and all lifetimes are integrated into this now. All karmic lifetimes have really been experienced, and we've changed the universal akasha, and we're just experiencing from this now. So the memories of what felt so real when we were in 3D and 4D is actually not even there for the most part. We can call it up when we need to, but mostly those memories don't exist anymore, and those timelines have disappeared. They've been collapsed, they've been transcended, they've been released, and where we are right now is simply ascended masters. We are just physical ascended masters, pure source light and consciousness, and the activation of this beautiful threefold flame of power, love and wisdom is illuminated and activated within every subatomic particle. But we experience it within our loving hearts, and some may also experience these beautiful golden halos that activate above the crown chakra as well. So there's many ways to experience these levels of cosmic Christ consciousness. And then the last one that we experience is what we call the ninth dimension, and that's really just an angelic frequency of purity. It's just absolute purity and innocence, and so it corresponds with this beautiful diamond light, and also with the sacred geometry of the flower of life. And that dimensional portal is 24 feet above the crown chakra. It's like a very deep dimensional frequency to access and activate for us as pure source consciousness, as pure light. It's really that angelic frequency. It's almost, it is sort of the God consciousness. We're activating at that time the what we call the atomine particles of God consciousness, or pure source consciousness, and it really takes us into this field of multi-universal Christ consciousness, and it's actually overlighted too by the archangels and angels. At each level, we activating these higher dimensional chakras and portals, and bringing it around the body and energy field with the related geometries to unlock the corresponding stargates from within. And at this stage, for many, you may not be able to access fully these dimensions, but you can lift yourself in consciousness to these dimensional fields of light, to these portals. And that's really what we're doing. It gives us a sense, a taste, a knowing of what is experienced in New Earth, and how to move deeper into all of that as we ourselves expand in light. So I invite you to join us in this very beautiful and powerful masterclass called once more the Cosmic Christ Consciousness Expansion and Cosmic Ray Actualization. And what we will do there is have this beautiful 2-hour transmission, and for those that may be interested to take this beautiful activation and to share it with their light tribe, there's also a practitioner training where you can utilize these beautiful quantum healing activations to share with your light tribe. And lastly, just to let you know that I have put together a lovely transmission for this Wesak and gateway, and it's called the Rays of Creation, in which you would experience the 12 rays of creation, and I'll put it in a separate video, so please do look for that, and I look forward to having you join us. And so from my heart and to yours, to the cosmic heart of all creation, blessings in love. Namaste.